You guys need to get in? Thank you guys for helping. I feel like you and I've always gone this way, but maybe we'll go. All the stars and still come my mind. Now, now, time to go still to things to hold. I'm recording.
I'm pretty good. How about you?
So,
Big person on the cover of it.
what can I say? I'm gonna He's, oh. He brought it up, shut my open.
So can I get your names?
On the buck.
WANDA
Yep.
Robinson.
ROBINSON
I'm Jennifer
KENNIFER
Monroe, MUNRO.
MUNRO.
Yeah.
Perfect. And you guys are all here from Business to Public to talk about
No,
your interest in fee or Rick is fee,
Rick is speaking
you're here from most of
and I'm be signing as a new commissioner. Hi.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, yes. Definitely. Hey. Did you print out your packet? We need an intro of Wanda. Are you information on there?
Last name.
And this is Nolan. Commissioners, we're waiting for. Maddie will be. Although Maddie was, her house is all boarded up. She's remodeling, yeah. It's kind of crazy, yeah. We double check to see if we had any call outs that are excused. I'll be right back. Here.
That's a Rick Bergman. Oh, okay. You know, English, yeah.
I'm gonna pass this down to you, it'll make sense.
Okay. To me?
Yeah. And you folks are artists. Hey. You're just here. Hey, girl, think. There's one there, or that's where Kim is sitting, do you want me to move, are you gonna take that? Yeah.
Not that I'm gonna be. Come on in. Oh, it's right here. You did, but that's okay. I like your one for that awesome gentleman down there. Before you get to that plant, make a left.
Will you have it?
Oh, okay. What?
Get those fingers.
Yes.
You don't know me all.
Oh, well,
Okay.
you know, we got one more session with them. Put these here, we need to. Oops, oh, of course. Stop getting sassy and calling. I guess. Okay, just.
Okay. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was like everyone.
And Amanda and Carolyn were possibly trying to sign in. So that would be our last time. Has to do with the meeting, and so I gotta find someone.
And the other artist thing.
Welcome, come on in.
Well, I will.
I'm recording, correct?
You are recording? Okay. It's been a minute since I didn't give it a minute. So we will call the meeting to order at 3:31. I will do a quick roll call of commissioners. Lisa.
Here.
Noah. Here. Carolyn is potentially joining us, but not here. Maddie.
Here.
Amanda is potentially joining us, but not here. And then. Here. And we can. Wanda. Wanda's here. Thank you. So yes, very quickly. For joining us, Wanda. Sandra did have to step away from the commission. So Wanda is her already approved
Already approved?
replacement. We'll give you time at the end of the meeting to talk about yourself more than your general business from commissioners. You don't have to. You will have the opportunity. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next scheduled item of business is business from the public. I know we had Rick Schultz, if you're here. That's me, Tim. Yeah. Please, what business do you have for the commission?
Well, thank you for asking. Nice to meet all of you. I know some of you and some of you I meet for the first time. But I wrote down some key points so that I can keep it succinct and brief. And so I will read from my notes and not make a lot of eye contact until the end of this. My name is Rick Schultz, and today I represent a group of Albany artists who are interested and active in trying to develop an outdoor art market in downtown Albany. To this end, I have been actively exploring other cities doing this and working with the Albany Downtown Association since May. We would like to work with and partner with both the City of Albany and the Albany Art Commission to develop this idea. This idea of partnering with the city and the Albany Art Commission is a direct result of my having come in contact with the Lithia Artesian Market in Ashland, Oregon. They have an over 20-year history of a very strong partnership with their city, and they have a quite vibrant and thriving online market that is really a strong tourist attraction at this point, and a really valued part of the city infrastructure. And maybe that hits all of the succinct points. I can answer questions now, or I can be quiet, or I can do whatever you'd like me to do.
Yes, what's your vision?
Like, I'm so glad you asked that. Because,
Is it 7 days a week?
yeah. This woman sounds like the woman I'm married to.
Oh.
So yeah, it's like track. Anyway, we were thinking of, the original concept that we put together was a Saturday art market. And we were originally hoping to have it off and running with the support of the Albany Downtown Association in August, with some lease suggestions. And we realized that we were rushing it a little too much, and we decided to put them off till next summer rather than force something to happen that may not have been fully conceptualized and working. When we hit the ground running, we wanted to really have people say, wow, this is cool, rather than this is pretty good. And so it would be a Saturday art market as we are thinking about it right now. This is what the Lithia Artis, I can pass this card around if you'd like to, if some of you would like to look at the website, they have quite a robust, social media, website, everything, they're, like I said, they've been doing this, I think, for close to 30 years, so I'm kind of underselling them when I say 20+. And I'm really, of all the different models that I have seen locally, like there's the Corvallis Art Market, Salem, there's things like that, they all have different strengths and weaknesses. But I really like the partnership with the city that, the city of Ashland is doing to create theirs. And I think that it takes a little longer to develop consensus and direction sometimes when you're looking at organizations that already exist. But I think ultimately it is a sustainable idea, it has a longevity that supports both the idea and the community better when you spend the time and develop those partnerships right up and down, rather than, well, I guess I'll just real briefly say, actually, Rob and I went, we visited the Corvallis, the artesian market, which has been thriving for many, many years, right across the street from the farmers market. Some of you may have been familiar with that. But that is a privately owned organization. There's no partnership with the city, and he distinctly recognized he doesn't want any of that, because he doesn't want to be cumbersome. It slows him down, he can't be agile. He's got a very distinctive model of doing, and I realized when hearing his way of doing things, I was seeing something a little different. I'm envisioning something happening that has a history of 30-some years, kind of like down in Ashland, and it's still going strong. I think now, if any one person were to step away from it, it would still exist. And that is my ultimate vision, is creating something that is not dependent on one person. If something happened to the guy over at Corvallis, the whole market would fall apart, because that's the way it's structured. It's his business and he's in charge. And nobody else really gets access to his business model, because I asked him and he told me that. And so that's my vision in very broad terms. And like I said, I would encourage you to look at some of the stuff that they've got there, because Marcus was very open and he's very interested in having a conversation to continue this as things go on. And so, like I said, I haven't done a national search, but I've done a local search, and his really is a strong. And I'm familiar with working with organizations. I've spent over 25 years in one of the community colleges up in Washington State, retired from a couple of years ago. And so I understand the strengths and the challenges of working with an organization that is very large and has many departments and this and that. And so it does not intimidate me to do the slow and steady progress. In fact, I have a lot of experience doing that. I found that some occasionally you bring chocolates and smile, everybody is generally happy. I didn't bring any chocolates today. That's the next meeting.
So this would be a weekly thing that coincides with the farmers market?
Well, actually, that's good, because if it was my decision and I got to say exactly what I would like to see it go that way. However, I realized that there are other people there are other stakeholders. And there might be things and perspectives that I'm not seeing yet. The reason that I like the idea of operating on a similar schedule to the farmers market is because the farmers market is a known quantity that attracts people. There's nothing like already having the pump primed of getting an audience going to get people, oh, look at this. This is new. This is cool. Let's check this out. And so you can do all the marketing and this and that you want, but if you've got an activity you can kind of be operating beside that already is drawing the community, that seems to oil the wheels to get things going. So yeah.
There's a small town example I was thinking of, although it's maybe not small town, it's in between Olympia and Washington. I lived there for many years, and their Saturday market, their farmers market actually integrates the urban market into it. But there's no real distinction, and it kind of flows organically together.
That was my original idea.
Yeah.
I have talked a little bit to some of the managers at the farmers market, and the ultimate director of the farmers market here in Albany is also one of for Allison. It's that kind of flowing is not going to be possible with the way that their farm is structured. However, I have heard that the executive director of the farmers market would be very interested in talking to somebody about this idea, because you do some cross pollination of marketing and this and that, and so that would be something that I would be And also, thank you for bringing up the Olympia Farmers Market, because that is a really. What I like about the Olympia Farmers Market is, they've got the big shelters and this and that. Now, I am so reluctant to call her Lisa, because I believe her name is actually Lise.
But she does go by this.
She goes by Lisa, she's just tired of fighting. So, Lisa was talking to me about, as the waterfront here develops. And she's like, we're looking for some usages and things like that. And when I see some of the pictures of the way things are developing, I can really see that flowing in very nicely to what both Action is doing, and similar to what is happening in Olympia. Even though there's not the dedicated overhanging structures, there are still overhanging structures and things like that could fit in. And so, but yes, flowing around, I see like 40 to 50 to 60 tents at some point. And the people walking around the sidewalks that are set up on the grassy areas, maybe there's something happening in the pavilion, maybe there's lots of things happening.
The only fear that I would have to, like, you take Portland's pattern, if they started really small as an artisan market, and they did go on the same day as farmers markets were held along the waterfront. But then what happened is all of the importers, kind of mass importers, jump in way in as well. So there's not a real distinction sometimes between the people that create things from hand, the local artists, as opposed to some of the other. And they have seemed to split it up geographically a bit in the last couple of years.
I have a whole bunch.
Great, I just want to drop that one. Go ahead. Yeah, so Lise and Marcus have brought that up early in the process, and Marcus uses a pretty successful model of vetting in order to make sure that the people that are coming are there. And what a great challenge to have so many people being interested in coming to downtown Albany and setting up stuff that we have to create those kind of categories like happening for you. I mean, I look forward to having that challenge, but I'm not sure that we're there quite yet. But I think that the process of vetting and how people are juried, sometimes it's called juried in or this or that, but the process of selection to make sure we don't just have a lot of Chinese mass produced stuff suddenly set up under the guise of some sort of local made thing, and like I said, I really could see that happening in a group process of how vetted process. That I hope that addresses your.
Yeah, it does, and I think maybe that's one way the commission members could be of help, since we don't have a budget to help you, get this off the ground, that maybe you could pick our grants some of the processes to do vetting and, that kind of thing. I don't know if it would be helpful to you. But
Any support is really welcome, so thank you for that idea.
I don't know how to. It's just a thought I threw out.
Thank you. Thanks, right? Where's your name?
Lisa,
Lisa, thank you.
okay, who is the group?
Well, it is a loose, actually, could probably, no, I'll tell you what, I'll even do you one better. The group is a group of artists. One of the things we're doing is we're putting on Albany Open Studios, the first Albany Open Studios tour. I'll let you, actually, I brought a couple of these, so if you know a place or two in the public that you can put that in a window, there are a couple of things, pass one, there's a black and white one, and a couple of color ones. Having some publicity would be wonderful.
So the group name?
Oh, the group's name, we have, I walked into the group and they're calling themselves the Albany Art Circle.
Okay, and how many people are in this group?
I would say that it seems to, well, Rob can certainly help me because he's been a part of it for quite a while. It seems to expand and contract anywhere between 5 and 20 people, depending upon what the activity, more activity focused. It's like when
So there's up to 3 people that belong to the group.
okay, so what's the membership in the Albany Art Circle meeting? It's going to be a year old.
The open art.
Yeah, it's about a year old. They came together last September, I think, was the first meeting, and didn't even have a name then.
Okay,
The people who stayed with it became the Albany art circle.
Okay.
And I was traveling during the winter, came in during the spring, and the Albany Art Circle is put on May 11th downtown Oakland Walk, which happened. And then from there, that was the impetus for me to say, hey, what, yeah, something like this, because I was actually demonstrating at the. So yeah, like most organizations that are, you guys are very organized and you have a very standard process of things to do. We are a more loose knit organization, and we seem to build enthusiasm and interest and membership when we have specific projects like, Albany Open Studios Tour, or this idea of the Saturday or something like that.
Okay. Is the group a nonprofit?
Not at this point, it's just,
So
we have an email address, we have email list that we mail out meeting notices to, and that's about official. I would imagine, well, we have discussed that as the project of the Albany Art Circle kind of take on a life of their own, there'd probably be a desire to build some sort of a structure on that, but how that looks yet is just very loose. And meeting down at the front center and sending out email.
Okay, so since it's so loose at this point, that's good that you decided to do it next summer. I think that's a good choice. One of the things I know for me, here in the gallery is, making sure that people, are gonna show up, that they're dedicated, that they're not gonna pull out at the last minute. Those kinds of things. So do you think at this point you will have contracts with those artists? Saying that, okay, we're gonna have a Saturday market. Are they paying for it all by themselves? Is your group? These are all questions I'm sure we'll get to, but yeah,
I have touched on some of them already, and some of my exploration, I was looking at like the different spaces that would be available to host this inaugural kind of thing. And talking to Lee and stuff, I'm really liking the City Hall Plaza. That just really fits because we cannot use the street because the farmers market has the whole street. But we were really seeing that if we were at least to begin with, to get a launch, to be somewhere in the proximity of the farmers market, it's close to them, but it's not part of them. So we can be feeding on that energy and cross pollination without actually stepping on their toes and having to say, no, you can't do that because this is our street and this is what we have to do.
and there's a fee for renting that space.
So there's an agreement on that one. I do know that with the completion of the waterfront, there is an interest in moving activities out of the parking lot and out of the plaza and down to that area being paid for it. I do know it's an ongoing conversation and it's one that I'm not a part of with the farmers market. But in hearing you talk about this, as a staff member, my brain immediately goes to, oh, you'll just right part of the plaza down there. Your nonprofit or your community group, and you'll run it as a rental every week. That's how my brain would see it.
So they would pay for it.
And it's like Lisa was talking about, some of these questions came up when we were brainstorming early. And I really think the structure of the organization will depend on our partnerships. And our partnerships will dictate to some degree how we interact with the city and how we use space that is city property and things like that. I mean.
So I can talk a little bit more about that. We have been very lucky since COVID, we've had these great community events that have started back up. So this past weekend, there was the Scottish Festival out at Timberland. Coming up, we have Festival Latino coming, we have Pride. And all of those are community driven events. They are not city events. All of those rent space, they pay for additional logistics support. Unfortunately, the city here is on resources, and if we were to do one, then what would stop us from having to do all of them? And so as far as partnerships, what we're able to offer would essentially be the commission saying, yes, we're in favor of this. We would be able to help go out as individuals and help sprinkle. We could make a recommendation to council to help support and advertise, but unfortunately wouldn't come with any money or any administrative support.
Thank you for sharing that. from speaking with Lisa, she was kind of sharing some different ideas, and that was one that came up. She showed me, and I did not bring it, I didn't know that we are going to get to this level, I thought I was just gonna introduce you, and you're gonna be the other. At approximately different time, I'll show you the flow charts of how city property is accessed and how partnerships with the city kind of defer some of those costs. They rent it in this way, but then if you're partnering with the city for a city sponsored event, then that can happen a different way.
It would still be associated and fee, so we don't do it for space allocation, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, sorry, I do, I hate to be blunt, but I don't want to lead you guys on thinking that that's a possibility. And we've had other groups spend, for fee waivers, permitting waivers, staffing on site. We're able to, if you would be interested in the table, we'd be more than happy to have the Arts Commission out there with volunteers tabling. But that's about the extent of financial and administrative support that the city would be able to provide.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I'm just, just like I said, we're very early in the process and we are gathering information.
I think it's a great idea. As a staff member and as a community member, I lived in Springfield, Eugene, so I would get down there for you. In my brain, seeing an activity like there with the splash pad and the playground and the stage. As a community member, I know I could see my family getting down there. Sorry that I don't have money though.
No, I caught several of the commissioners when I went and saw the booth at the Friday. I talked to several commissioners and I don't remember who was there, and I saw.
Lisa and I.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were talking about you're having basically your bake sale to raise money. And it was successful.
They're being modest. This group has raised more money than ever imagined behind a commission.
Well, okay, just for a moment, thinking of money, like within the college structure, we had a certain part of the college that was structured in a way that we got community grants. And they were the organization that sponsored that. Does the Art Commission apply for grants to support projects and run it through? Looks like the Parks and Rec department is what that is the organization.
Yeah, we have a recreation foundation that we work with, and if you're interested, I'd be more than happy to get you in contact with their chair and get you on the agenda and have you come and chat. If it's something that you're interested in looking at.
I think that's a great idea. We're a little early for that yet. So there you go. That's the idea. And I really appreciate your time and interest. And I don't know if there's any other questions. I would love to answer them, or I would like to also say, now, would you like me to hang out for your meeting? Or I was thinking that I would come in and kind of like, I don't know how these work. There's like a city hall where you come in and say, when you're doing it, you're exit out. And the person comes in.
So it is a public meeting, so it is up to you. So we have business from the public. You may leave if you want to give us, if you want us to give you a moment to step out the door and you don't have to say anything. Or if you're curious what we do, and you can kind of hear what we complain about.
Okay.
People's file depends on financial. We as a commission also pay for use of city property to do our monthly artist appreciation event for the artist showing of the gallery, and we had to find a grant to make that happen. So we have. Yes. Okay. So that is something I am curious. I don't think you're there yet. And this is somewhat a question for Kim. We do have a fairly extensive list at this point of artists who have shown at City Hall. Would it be possible, if once their group is ready, that we could potentially notify all of them of the opportunity from our backlog of lists? That would be one way that shows support, is to provide that kind of, here's something for all the artists to know is coming up in Albany, and reach out as an option to help spread the word. We have finished.
It's long been my contention that we should be, everybody should be aware of these events, particularly, in partnership. And so, I mean, while this is very exciting, we also probably have 50 more people we can add to this list. But over the video tour. And then there's another event coming up, which is the first Friday that is noticed. That got organized, where they wanted all the businesses to support artists, and I'm thinking, why aren't we sharing this information? It just feels so pocketed and just, I really like to see it, yeah, somehow corral this. Yeah, well, it just came, I saw it today. Let me get back to it for a second, because I'd like to read it to you. And I'm going, wait, I'm going to check. I can share it with you later.
But would there be any issue on the city side?
Think so. We wouldn't necessarily give email, but out of courtesy to our artists, what we would do is we would have the information that you have, and we would send out like email and say, hey, if you're interested, reach out to you guys. So that way they really feel like spamming them. But I think it would be that would be a very easy thing to do.
It's getting all over into me. Okay. Is there any other questions for Rick? Do we have any other business from the public? Are you just here supporting?
Well, I would like to comment that when, as this keeps going, please come back and give us update.
What is it? Well, thank you. Thank you for extending interest. I'm curious what the best way to keep you guys in the loop. I know what I do with Lee down at the downtown association is I was sending her when we were really thinking it might happen. Summer, I was weekly emails. I was giving her update. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. She'd give me feedback sometimes. Is it easier to send emails or easier just to show up at these meetings and say, here's where we're at and just give you a brief update that way?
If you send an email, you can send it to me and I'll forward it along.
Okay. There you go.
I will get you a card.
If you need discussion on the topic, it'll be better to come in person because there are public meeting laws that restrict us from having concurrent conversations via email and things like that. So if you're looking for feedback or conversation, please come and visit. If it's just here's where we're at with things, feel free to send it.
Well, it's like keep you guys at least aware that we're still breathing and active. When you email, there's something that comes up that seems more safety based, I will show up.
Sorry.
Okay, then we'll close business from the public. For the next thing on our agenda is the approval of June 11th, 2024 minutes. If you were not able to meet in July, we lacked a quorum. So we are going to be this June. Back to what people gave me, but we did not meet in July. We met in June.
This is why I can find minutes on July.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately we had a couple of last minute things that came up and prevented commissioners from making them, so. Did you have take a chance to review in advance, hopefully? Is there anything you'd like to call for approval?
Motion for approval of the June minutes.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, any changes? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the June minutes, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Yes, we have 4. Yep. We have 4. We have 5. So, all right, the June meeting minutes are approved. Scheduled business. So, first item under discussion, the upcoming local art events are kind of standing. I know I have one. The Albany Civic Theater has a couple of productions of The Little Mermaid coming up that I really would love to get out and help show some support through our social media. Because the kids' performance that they've been putting a lot of hard work. They've been doing a summer camp, getting ready for it. And I think we should throw some support their way as best we can. Did anybody else have any other items of that we think we should get up on social media?
Can you give us, what was the date for that?
It is the
23rd, 24th.
yes, either 24th weekend after, I believe. So the 30th and the 23rd, 24th, and the 30th and 31st.
And then, I'm sorry, where is it located?
The Albany Civic Theater. So it'll be at their theater here. First in line.
Do you have a poster out that you could share with us to get out on social media?
Probably. I just know about it more than.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm not in on the project.
I see.
Aware that it's an activity.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mid Valley Community Theaters or Mama Lena? South Albany High School? No, West Albany High School. This weekend.
Name, Taylor.
I have a question. When you say support, what do you guys do, like, what do you guys do?
No, the main goal with this particular item is just sharing within our social media. We can. So the idea is that we would put together a listing of upcoming things between now and our next meeting. And then they would get the city to hopefully share that on their pages, the part. It's kind of the author to be able to, but we submit them a list, they'll put a kind of a little calendar update out. Just a post.
So is that the only special meeting? Is there?
Yeah, the commission itself does not get to have its own social media due to controls marketing and brand for the city of Albany. So they want to make sure that we're under certain reviews and full stuff. But then each individual commissioner is free to express and share in their own network.
The best way, like, if you know an event or you think of something coming up, like maybe even studio tours, is to email that information or place it on the city's website. I think you can email it for their calendar. There's some sort of interface I know that you can contribute to the calendar. Also, the Albany Visitors Association, if you were to let them know what you're doing, they will put it on their calendar, which automatically interfaces with the city's calendar. So it's fairly convenient.
And we just leave that as a standing item for commissioners to discuss. Never goes really very far. We're working on it. Hopefully it'll be better one day.
Well, you mentioned.
Yes.
Did you say? Like,
That was the one that I had, and then the Mid Valley Communities leaders among the apps was what? Arts and so it is the Arts Commission. So we broadly define that as the creative arts. So it could be theater. So we have displayed poetry here. We display 3D art. We display print media, and we also support musician here at City Hall.
Oh, there's something coming up with the block party.
Yep.
I thought.
Yeah,
POD.
That's fine.
POD.
The really famous band.
I didn't realize that was for. Sorry.
No.
I like the programming, but I actually know who it is for.
Yeah, Puddle Muddle's different. Sorry, I said that. It's like.
Yeah.
The idea of the different band. I know that's already on being shared by like the visitor and things like that.
Who cares?
In December, you can remember in November.
I don't know.
Like this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah. They could do the street the.
Yeah.
I think they're doing the harvest.
November, I know they have some sort of craft show. that-
Yeah.
Those Art and Air Fest. Art and Air Fest is kind of. The city's already marketing that one pretty well, so that one. But that is the 23rd and 24th. They are.
Yes, in the info booth, and if you're interested in helping out, I believe that Albany Visitors Association. Get you plugged in?
And you all should have received a volunteer request.
history with the Lynch Whiting field. Anything else? Yeah, we'll move on to discussion item 2, the Republic Services Grant update.
Sure, so at our last meeting, we had Stacey Bartholomew and talk about what, if we want to move forward with this idea of a community mural looking like. So one of the sticking points was that originally we had received a $1,500 grant from Republic Services, specifically for the mayor's unity mural idea. So I contacted them and said, hey, we've had some changes, like, is this something you'd be interested in? And they said, probably, but I can't say definitively until we would get like an idea of what it would look like, what the messaging would be. So I said, all right, it sounds like it's gonna be like a fall project and beyond. So what this comes down to is, at this point, the only money that we actually have tied to this project is the $1,500 that is at stake if they are not interested in what it looks like. So without saying definitively, yes, we can move forward. The project is, we'll need to kind of flesh out what that looks like. And I couldn't remember if there was anybody that had decided to take the lead. How we agree with it.
It's just gonna dovetail on some of this when you're done.
So that's it. It's not a hard no. It's not a, we don't have our, like, we want the money back. They're being very gracious. I would say we probably have 6 months to determine if it's something that, just because that's what I need to give the second year report. So that's what I would say at this point. If we don't have an idea submitted to them, then I would think that shows opportunity of maybe not this project.
So my thinking on, can
Do you have comments to that, or is it going to tie in on the next topic on
I?
fundraising?
No, I'm gonna tie in with this project.
Go for it.
Okay, so I know that what we discussed about changing the idea of what the mural would be put together, like, we came up with a lot of different ideas. So we could get this grant in the time that was allotted. So I don't see that happening right now with us. I just feel like we're just kind of, feeling our way through it at this point. So my thinking was, there's a lot of smaller towns who are doing this thing, I think it's Art Across America. And you pay a certain amount for somebody to design this for you. They come in and then they can buy all of the materials, okay? And people make tiles in specific, they get the paint kit. So the community members pay a little bit to participate in this. And they paint these little tiles which create a mural. And I'm sorry, I didn't get the paperwork to send that to you before, but I'll get it together. My computer's back together again. And I can send some stuff to you for the next meeting, that we can talk about. It might be a solution to our problem.
Love it.
And what does that mean, to how it gets designed?
I'm not sure, I will do that extra research, but it looks like the community kind of comes up with this concept. Then the designers put it together so that all of these tiles work.
Paint and
Yeah, it's like a paint by numbers.
So do you, as a art commission, do you guys have to approve it before it goes out, or
Yes.
that's what it looks like?
Yeah, it's public.
Cool.
In this, not all community rooms, it depends, but because this would be the partnership with us and something that's been floated for a couple of years now,
Yeah.
really, that's just been stalling out for various reasons.
Cool. That's all I got. I'll get
That's why.
Okay. The section item, A3, fundraising, Maddie.
Can we combine fundraising and follow-up because it's kind of gonna be the same?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll try to make it quick. As far as any new fundraising opportunities, I don't have any for you because right now we need to get a little bit stronger foundation to our core. Well, what am I trying to say? Volunteers and also our subcommittee, ad hoc committee for fundraising. And so I'm going to just move into our follow-up for Pride. We did the tabling for that day and thankfully, we set it next to the city's booth. So, and we were able to get that space for free courtesy of Pride, Albany Pride. And I had been collecting swag for, I think, 6 months. So we have a whole table full and you brought some things, Lisa, didn't you? Bring your nose. Yeah, I did. I think you did. It was a long day. I won't kid you about. We needed more people to help man that booth. It was blazing hot. And I think we talked ourselves silly, didn't we? I mean, neither one of us had a voice at the end of the day. And so what we did though, we learned some things from this. Swag is good. We also know some of the things to focus on for the next time, should we choose to participate. We brought in
250?
which, you know, is respectable for that event, I think.
Yep, between that and the other, the first Friday reception, which had a small amount of attendees, but they all gave, there was $45 generated.
Yes.
That group,
Yes,
so
that's
about $300.
So, I mean, I think that we need to continue these things because how else are people even gonna know that they exist? And, you know, we met, yeah, so these,
Oh, so do you guys even have a table there? So,
yes.
You're also selling on your own, like I saw a little stained glass piece or something, I think.
Members donated,
Okay.
yeah, so I think it was 3 or 4 of us who donated our work to be sold. And we did that at the Lynn County Community as well. And that opportunity is coming up again, so it'll be in March of 2025.
Just so we're clear, because with a new person and you folks, this is a working commission. This is not, you come in, do the meeting, go home, and that's it. This is a working commission. We require, and it is in the thingy. Oh, it's the thing that you get to tell you all about the different commissions and what you're supposed to do, what you're expected to do.
okay.
And it's on page,
Cameron,
Citizens Advisory Group, handout that either. Yeah. But on page 17, it's pretty clear, about, so you should read that, about attendance and participation. So.
And let me add to that is volunteers are welcome. Like, if your art group, if they want to come hang out with us for the day, take a shift, talk about art, meet other artists, meet other people that could get excited, we'd love to have you. So anybody that wants to do that.
Sorry, so I have something to add about subcommittees. So apparently there's updated ORS, the big word in state law that tells what we can and can't do. And subcommittees are getting trickier. So in the past, we've been able to have, I've just found this out. So in the past, we've been able to have subcommittees and as long as it's under forum, you're able to go out, figure it out. At this point, those need to be publicly noticed as well. So that makes it tricky if we wanted to have like a fundraising subgroup, then there'd have to be a specific day, we here, we get it on Zoom, all that kind of good stuff. So we're trying to figure out what that means. But with that said, because I reached out to see if we could send our information to former applicants that were maybe interested but not selected. And there's kind of some hesitation as to like, I don't want to dangle something once again in front of them and be like, actually, yeah. So, I apologize if bureaucracy is what it is. But we'll have to figure out how to, I think we could have a volunteer list and say, hey, we're looking for folks on this day, send out an email and anybody that signs up, happy to add them to this list. But as far as projects being tackled significantly by outside of this meeting time, we would need to notice it a little bit more. I think two people going and working on the project's totally fine. But like 3, I think it starts to get a little muddy.
So Congress cities do.
Okay.
So, we have an amazing city clerk though. I'm gonna use this term in a very loving way, but he's nerding out on this stuff and he's wonderful. And so he's trying to boil it down into language that like people, myself, are able to understand. So it's fresh legislation change apparently. So thank you and sorry.
When you get the email that says, we need volunteers,
I have. Here, I'll send them the sign up. Anybody who wants to help table for our upcoming artist receptions?
yeah.
And the next one is. So,
Yeah.
bring your friends.
This progress reception.
Yeah.
The first Friday. He's showing September. One to get.
I'm gonna clarify this really quick. So this sheet that's going around right now to everybody is volunteering to help out at the gallery session. So monthly, we have first Friday of each month. The changeover of the gallery, and we invite the artist out. This is very fortunate, great, and thanks to the Partner Foundation. We're able to get it from the Lincoln Cultural Coalition to cover the cost of security guard and keeping the floor open longer in the evening. It's also allowed us to purchase some signage, to do refreshments, things like that. So this is a new element to what we're doing with the gallery this year, instead of just doing rotations and then being like, cool, great, everybody that comes in the city hall can see it. When there's a ton of people that don't even know that we do this, hopefully the gallery reception ties into those first Friday events that are happening. We can get more people. It's been up and down. We've had some really great nights and some less great nights. But it's been something new. So this is to sign up if you have time to come and help out. But
So as the show, as the reception going
and the reception's going.
and help do just
To
dinner.
greet people, to set up refreshments.
Take donations.
Take donations.
Clicker count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Refreshments.
Yes, you can, we'll ask Kim to send it out to everybody again.
Yep.
It should have been in the packet, I believe,
Yeah.
actually. So you probably already have it. You want to double check the dates if you can't commit right now.
And so what do you call it, gallery reception?
Gallery session, yes.
Volunteering, but.
Yeah. Yeah. First Fridays are always, first one.
And so that is new for, being open other than.
Being open, this year, so we only just got the grants.
March or April.
Yeah, March or April.
So,
Yeah.
How is first Friday?
That, well, as an event overall for the downtown, that has, oh man, I don't even know. So it started with the Gallery Calapooya, was hosting first Friday art receptions for when they switched over for the month. In terms of their highlighted artists, and that's been 10 years, eight years. And other downtown businesses like Fort Daddy Dexter is a big contributor to it. Downtown Association has assisted with this and tricky. They did, I don't know if they still do, but downtown used to have a committee that would decorate their. I represent the Albany Regional Museum. We hosted it. We were doing artists one night kind of art pop-ups before COVID. Since then, we've done various things, and which is one reason why I'm often not available because I'm over there dealing with that. So it's just it's a broad community. It built up support in the last few years. It's got a couple years ago, we get a lot of people. We decided to jump on board as well.
So do you have gallery, people from California Gallery to show up here?
If they apply, yes, but it's not specifically tied to them, so you may have noticed in your packet that we have various artists submit to the call. We're reviewing some of those today. And we have our own ongoing call for submissions, and you don't have to be associated with Gallery Calapooya or anything like that. Separate, and we jury it and make determinations. And those are the artists that Lisa helps coordinate. Thank you. It's a big responsibility. If you want to go back, she was with it. Okay. Yeah, thank you for all the questions. We've got to get you up to speed. I know. That's great. Is there any fundraising or more pride club information, and we got it.
The one thing that I will add to it is that we had talked about in a prior meeting several months ago about partnering with the library this fall. And I don't think them, I mean, we had a couple of members, and I don't even know who it was, suggest that they would find more at the library, and we didn't get that information back. So I'm gonna say it's probably not gonna happen.
This is the uncorked.
Yeah.
Fundraiser that they do here to the library. And they usually have music and.
Right.
And it's going to be one.
Yeah.
There's also potentially the library foundation, they do their sale. And they're gonna do it annually, but twice a year, thought was potentially if we had. Art that was being, working on the commission, that could be sold. Maybe in the same venue, yeah.
We're just not there. I mean, it's September already.
Yeah, I think that was the meeting when I was out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, APAC, group show policies, let's look at some.
It is. In here, in the hand. So the idea behind this is if we have groups of people come in, like the big community art show. There has to be, for me, it gets very tricky and it gets to be overwhelming. Stephanie had been doing, Stephanie Lowe was the one who helped coordinate the community art show. She did the bulk of the work. And, because there were, I don't even remember how many, 22 artists. So, but that's what she had to do and she did a great job. But we've had other groups come forward and they want to be in the gallery. Well, it becomes difficult for me to have to stay in touch with a vast number of artists. So we try to come up with this policy that, first of all, the group has to have at least 5 artists. They have to have a minimum number of pieces. We ran into some problems this year with them, and so that's where this sprung out. There has to be a point of contact person for them, so that I'm not reaching out to all 5 people or 10, 12, whatever. Those shows have been very successful with a contact person who knows their people and can let them know what's going on. So that's what this was. We needed to vote. Yeah, we need to vote on it if this could be in place.
So we can limited space for 22 artists is that. Would be a lot of space, right?
Well, the way it breaks down is that the gallery is the entire downstairs. And we have room for anywhere from 80 pieces or more, depending on the space. Pardon me.
So throughout, and
Yes, now there's an upstairs. I do not usually put anyone upstairs. That just becomes, I think, a problem for the security guard. But I don't know, anyway, just the downstairs is plenty hard to fill up or to get enough artists to be in. And sometimes we have artists who only have 2 or 3 pieces. And that's where the community show comes in great, because then somebody only has 1 or 2 pieces they can show.
so when is the show? It's not the first Friday, right? Or that's a different time.
For the whole month,
Yeah.
so you look by the first, on the
It
first.
changes every month.
So you got a copy, you should both have gotten a copy of the calendar. It's there in Peter, right there. And that shows us where where we're at. There are a bunch of people we need to approve today to be able to show in October. I talked to all of these people, and they know when I'm looking at where I'm gonna put them. Right? So the people in red are people we have not approved yet. And then December, well, and we were batting around this idea of maybe making it a fundraiser by selling tables and having artists show instead of just painters. You know, typically we get 2D art. But the problem that I figured out this morning was it probably costs $200 in security guard fees. And that we wouldn't make that back. We would barely be able to make, because if it's an 8-hour day and it's on a Saturday. And
If we ask people, we actually charge for the tables.
yeah, but if we charge, even if we charge $25 per table, we get 10 people. Well, then that's just enough to pay for the security guard. And it's a lot of work to put it on. The security guard's $25 an hour.
Yes.
Lisa, I hate to interrupt, it's a great conversation, but right now, can I refocus our conversation back to the group show policy?
Sure.
Yeah. Because we're already at the almost 4:30.
Oh,
We can come back to that,
okay.
but let's table that for a second and finish up the conversation on the group show policy.
Yeah.
So we need to vote on that. So we have had issues, so this policy is designed to help fix those issues, is that correct? May or may not apply to the artificial show in December if we approve it now. So, is there anybody that would like to motion to approve this as a policy?
I don't think I can.
Well,
If you want.
yeah, actually,
Oh,
It's like a new stuff.
I just have one question before we.
We'll have a motion in that, and then we'll accept discussion on the topic for changes.
Okay, okay.
So Lisa, are you motioning to approve the?
Yes.
Policy?
I motion to approve the policy.
Did you want a second?
Yes.
It's easier to support a bit. And then Maddie said he had some discussion on it.
Yeah, number 3, so it says the gallery chair will email the initial engagement letters, blah, 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 blah. And that they're sort of responsible for all of these moving pieces, including the installation, correct? And the installation,
Right.
is that correct?
Yeah.
So my concern is that seems like an awfully big chunk for one person from our commission to handle. And should there not be some other responsibilities, like, you know, making sure that the artists come to this event? Because I can tell you from the last couple of receptions, some of the artists haven't even shown up. You know, and so my sense is not that Lisa's doing anything wrong, but we need to send out something with the first letter, you've been accepted. We do that. And we do that, but we attach a PDF of a graphic for these people to pass out and say, you're invited. We make this a bigger deal for them so that they know that they should come and participate and be there. This is a celebration of their art. So I don't know, I'm just seeing a lot of responsibility here onto you for the follow-ups and the emails and all of that. And so what help can we lend to you for getting participation up
Well,
in events?
this is really a policy, you know, to corral the group thing. As far as the responsibilities of the gallery chair, I'm happy to share any of them with anybody that would like to do that.
All you have to do is say and or commission member.
Thank you, that's kind of what you're
Okay.
focusing on.
So can we vote on it with that change?
Somebody needs to recommend an addendum, recommend the change, and then we second it.
Well, I got one thing.
Okay.
I noticed there's nothing about, I think. Slow provided a inventory sheet, right?
Yes.
There's nothing. with The point person being. Inventory, yeah. That's the,
Yeah, what did, yes.
make a motion to.
sure there've been two pages.
It's duplex, so it's in the front. Everything's duplexed in the front, so you,
Okay, so Nolan, you would like to make an addendum to the motion,
Yes,
which is,
to add to D. To state that the point of contact person is responsible for providing an inventory list.
that's it's very good, yes, thank you.
And so the gallery.
And then on item 3, it will say gallery chair and or commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
Will each-
Yeah,
Number 3, yeah.
yeah.
since it was your motion, Lisa, you have to approve the addendum.
I approve the addendum.
And then the second has to approve of the addendum. Okay, they have approved, so with that addendum, is there any final discussion? Yeah. Then all in favor of accepting the group show policy with the addendum, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Yeah, we have a group policy. I think they mostly do the right thing. Okay. Then that wraps up the business for the group show policy. So I know there's some conversation going on. I think we'll have to come back to that from business from the commission. The next item is the city hall gallery functions, and that's Lisa.
You know, I think that has been resolved in the policy, a lot of that, so. Yep, I don't think I have anything.
You're actually good there. Okay. That brings up the discussion items we do have, an action item that we have to get to. That is the approval of new submissions. I will note that one of those submissions is not technically new, it is actually a carryover from June that we wanted to allow people to investigate some of the work further individually before we can have some discussion. Was Savannah West. So. Did everybody have a chance to review the work in advance? Are there any specific call outs that any of the commission members wanted to make note of? Did you have any?
We're all on to
Yeah, it was emailed out in advance.
there was names in there, and for those individual different.
So I think that most of them didn't seem to work this time.
Okay. Yes.
They're everyone, the links in the past have worked typically, usually there's at least one that serves as an example. Yeah. Hopefully the individual, so you're in the same boat all the rest of us are, which is that there's usually about one image, maybe two. Each artist that will have to serve as the representation favorite. So that means that we haven't done as thoroughly as we would like, but hopefully I think most of them were pretty straightforward. The only one that I have to bring up is the Van West again, so. Here in the prior conversation, so the issue that comes up is that she submitted a piece that is depicting drug use. She also has, her work is very trauma informed. If you read her poetry and things like that, which those links were working. Particularly the Hello Father poem, which is in the packet. It includes themes of domestic violence, rape. And it's very traumatic. It's a poem.
It's duplex on back for pictures.
So. Last month, I think we decided we could not accept the piece depicting drug use. It's just due to the nature of it being City Hall. I don't know how we handle the poetry. Because again, it's trauma informed work. I mean, it comes through in her work. If you read all of her poems, that this is a way that she is processing these traumas. I do worry that it would be very triggering for the general public without some sort of warning, or like if we could provide a covering so that people could opt into looking at it while still being on display as a potential option.
I was just,
Yeah, Maddie. go ahead.
I was just gonna suggest that perhaps we, if she would agree to it, to cover it, you know, with something that opens up. And then place the warning there. Because it very well could be very traumatic for someone to read this and they're just coming in expecting having poetry and that this is their background or their history.
I think something is just a member of the public. Sure. I really like the idea of having the ability to make the choice myself of whether or not I view it, if there's some sort of a. This artwork is representing, I like the idea of trauma informed creation. And then I know what I'm getting into and make an informed decision of my own to lift the cover and engage in that. And so rather than having a group of people arbitrarily decide Rick Schultz shouldn't be traumatized by this, and Rick Schultz instead gets the choice of whether he wants to engage in that or not. I like that idea.
Yeah, because I think if we say, oh, well, we can't have this, then we're actually creating more trauma for the artist that is creative expression of her experience.
Yeah, I'm used to gallery spaces, you know, where
Yeah,
you know, public chooses to come see your work.
yes.
And I'm very against censoring art, but I can see we have a duty to protect citizens who come here for other reasons.
Or children.
Or children.
Yeah, people are coming to pay their water bill here. We have to encourage love, so yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
With the art, the art that's gonna, is it only painting? How do you guys go about like digital painting? How the tech stuff with that?
So artists can submit 2D work, so they can do photography work and submit that. Nolan as a photographer, and he's submitted some of his work to display in the gallery. We mostly do 2D designs because that is what our space allows. There are a few cases that allow for 3D work, and we've had that represented before. And so that's the bulk of it. Now, if you're asking like a digital creation, so somebody has created some sort of like digital interactive, that's fine. We're having an ongoing, it's not on this month conversation. We're going to come back to it in a future month when there's left on the agenda. A topic about AI creation.
You doing AI compared to actually doing illustration?
Right, yeah. We've had people that have done like book artist style creations that they've shown printouts from, and we haven't had any issues with that. It's just another style of creation. Yeah, it's a different conversation, as long as it's practical. Yeah.
It's AI. She said. So.
That'll be.
So kind of to tag on to this, there were conversations about, you know, what are other commissions doing, and there are some groups, this would be a larger conversation of the group would like to look at this, as we talked about inciting violence, we talked about drug use, we talked about, I mean, nudity is the one we can't have. And there are some ways that we could go about altering kind of like our charter and kind of like the type of environment that we are creating in here. We can set the framework for these are the types of work we're looking for. There are some examples that our city attorney was able to provide, you know, saying here's what goes, but it would have us go to council, that have it be a resolution and all that kind of good stuff. So it kind of protects you guys as our commissioners from being told that you're, you know, you're silencing artists. So that's something that this group would like to look into, we certainly can. But what I'm understanding from this is that Acid Alice is still not going to take place. But the rest of the Alice in Wonderland series is able to, as long as when it arrives, it does not depict any drug use. And that the poem or any of the pieces, ask you to follow up. Cause now you'll figure out how to create something that people are able to opt into.
Just a piece of paper, I think.
Yeah.
It's a piece of paper.
I think decent call.
Yeah.
That doesn't make small children just want attention.
Well, we'll put it up high and.
Sorry, just.
Look down.
Okay.
It does say, on the application itself, which is on the website, is the work that you plan to show created by you? Are any pieces AI generated?
Yeah.
We added that. Yeah. Those are on.
Somebody had.
That's not saying we can't use it, it's just collecting the information.
Okay, so. Are there any other comments or concerns about any of the other representative pieces from the various artists that are in the packet today? No? Do we have a motion to approve the artist with the exception of the Acid Alex piece from Savannah West?
And the poem with some sort of,
And adding and
yeah,
confirming with the artist that they're okay with having an opt-in option
Yeah.
on the trauma informed. No, I just set things up, I don't think. Chair. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, any final questions about the motion? In this packet, this is approving
People. Too.
for that month, yes, yeah, but it's, yes, yeah, all the names in red are names that we're working with. We have been working through them monthly, and it is, we try to have it staged out, so this should keep us good now through November, hopefully.
I contact artists. They, it's up on the website. You can go there and you can apply to show at the gallery.
we haven't voted yet.
Yeah, we have. They have bad on him. Okay. All in favor of approving the artists with the addendum, say aye. Any opposed? So now we can go into the conversation. Yes, so we have a quick call. We accept. Lisa manages the calendar.
I have to contact people because on the whole, we don't have all of these people that have applied here. I've contacted, I had to go find them.
Yes.
So I have to go find them. So if anybody, I have artists you meet, you see their work, you know about them. Please tell them either to contact me or they can contact or go on the website.
Can they show?
Yes, once they've been approved, like Rob, he's sorry, grandfather in, I don't know what else to say to that. Yeah, that they've been approved before, they can show again. They don't have to go through the office.
They have to get each piece of proof.
No, we just approve a representative portion of the work.
What has it been like maybe, well, I don't know, if they're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Different version.
yeah,
And I would say if something shows up, as a city representative, if something shows up that was not in the, is not represented in the packet.
We take it.
But we take it, that didn't go through the process. But it's an image that we haven't seen in the file. Nudity.
I will say that this commission, I've been on this commission for 5 years. Now. Been on here a minute, longest I remember, and this is the first year that we've really run up against some of these themes, and so the work that we're doing to get things like the Urgent Ready event going has brought in a new audience of artists and it's bringing us new material, which is wonderful. It's also raising questions of, well, crap, we don't need to be censoring. But at the same time, we gotta balance things given the context of the gathering. So, yeah, it's been interesting. We're joining at an interesting time. Okay, that wraps the scheduled business, so that moves us to business from the members. I know I have a couple of things, but I will, I'm gonna go counterclockwise, I'm gonna start with Nolan. And see if he has anything. Yeah, any business?
well,
No.
where are you guys?
No.
Please,
Other than some discussion down the road about this, fundraiser for December, I'll have to start contacting Chris right away. So we'll have to talk about it. Maybe in a 2-person committee.
okay, so come back with us next month, but the potential fundraiser in December, okay. Matt, I feel like there was conversations that I missed out on here, but Maddie, what do you got?
I'm fine, I really don't have anything else to add. I do have a bill. Sure, because we didn't have snacks or anything, and I had to kind of go out and win, I guess.
Some of your people lay off our snacks.
Well, actually, I do have something.
I feel like I'm losing control here, but Matt,
Sorry, I do have something leftover business from Friday. Which is, we did like a raffle, and I sent over a bin with notes saying, we have some of the prizes, these are the names that need to be drawn, and I've not seen anything from that.
I didn't know that that was happening.
I had the, I had the prizes all grouped together in a bin and put notes. And then we gave it to who? I put it in the tubs that came back to the city.
Oh, I got the money out of it, but I didn't know that there were action items.
Yes,
Okay.
so I kind of don't want the piece to get totally long, because I'm kind of embarrassed. You know, we have to buy raffle tickets. Or donate to get.
Let's check after. Okay, sorry, I did not know that there were action items.
Yes.
what? Let's see, first time, do you have any background information you'd like to give us about yourself? If you're interested in the commission?
Artist, my first love was painting, went to school for art science and stuff, painting, so I've been painting here and there over the years, but I also do graphics and signs and very creative. I have a degree in writing and a degree in graphic design. For kids animation, I do web design, I do all this stuff, but my favorite is painting, but I don't get a painting lot, you know, I'm a busy household and it's a lot of interruption. Take care of my granddaughter. And I have been wanting to be more part of the community in Albany, you know, arts times.
Yes.
Can I add something to the agenda for next meeting? So probably a long conversation about meeting policies again. Like canceling meetings and
It's a thing where
Yeah.
Robert say that the meeting is called, everybody's here, we wait 10 to 15 minutes to see if we need quorum. If we don't, then it's dismissed. But what's happening, of course, is that the meeting is getting canceled prior to us being here.
Because we had enough people call out that we were.
But that's generally the way it's been, right? That
But they pulled out ahead, like, we weren't gonna make you guys show up, knowing in fact that after the agenda was sent out, we had quorum. And then we didn't have enough people because things happened, and so at that point, I'm not gonna make you guys show up to then just cancel the meeting, so that's what happened last.
The only issue with that, and I'm grateful that the email was sent out, but it was sent out the same day. I don't always check my email. Now, that day, I happened to be on the computer and we had, you know, public speaking and we do, how we get hold of that person. And the other thing was this, would we have a quorum if we did show up? Let's say like three of us, could we call one of the other members and say, can we participate by phone
What we've done.
in this meeting? I mean, I don't. Yeah, yeah.
Because we also don't know who's calling out, who's not participating, who's not showing up. We don't know.
Well, at this point, if you don't hear from us canceling, it's because we are taking a leap of faith that everybody is gonna show up. But if we get more no votes of people being like, hey, I'm not gonna be there, we're gonna cancel because they've already said they're either camping, on vacation, they're sick, something. So there's no, on my brain, there's no hope of calling them and saying, hey, we need to have you here.
But we allowed them to reschedule that meeting that was due. I thought that was.
We have to do it, yes, but we'd have to publicly notice it, and there's a certain amount of time for that. So we could schedule in between meetings, but it won't be necessarily the next day. It would have to be I'll have to figure that out. I've never done it.
My other question to that was to put in for your next time discussion is that what happens when members miss, say, 3, 4, 5 meetings, monthly ones? How much allowance are people given?
Sure, but typically I run numbers about twice a year. And people have not been present for 3, then I will let our citizen advisory liaison know, and they contact the city council member. Say, hey, your person isn't showing up. It's up to the city council member if they want to continue with them or if they would like to replace them. So, am I gathering from this moment that this group would potentially like me to look at those numbers now and go ahead and send?
Sure.
Yeah.
I know it makes more work again for city staff and for the councilors, but I think it might be helpful.
No, totally good. Sorry, and I know it's all kind of pushy. I just want to be. I want to be respectful of y'all's time, but we also want to be respectful of staff time. That if there's no hope in getting the amount of people together at the same rate, then. So.
I just got a couple of things. Move on to the final last couple pieces. I did present about the art commission to the Rotary Club of Albany at the beginning of July. So I was gonna be able to tell you all about it back last meeting. And as part of that presentation, I did find out I need to be more careful about the art pieces that I talked about. Kim was there for this. I talked about the wolf statue, and it turns out Devin Rowe is much more famous than I had anticipated. He's had work shown at the White House, even though it was one of the pieces that we were considering decommissioning public display. And some of the members at Rotary brought it to my attention that maybe we wouldn't want to do that. But overall, the presentation went really well. If anybody else would like to do these kinds of presentations, let me know. I do have a PowerPoint that I can share with you. And I did have a couple people that hopefully will be submitting work down the road, or submitting work down the road. So that these are little things that we can do individually that would be helpful to the commission. The other thing is, and this will be something that I want to put on the agenda for next month as well, but in which I would like everybody thinking about it between now and then. October is National Arts and Humanities Month. We have talked in the past about starting to do some sort of arts award, I guess an annual thing, much like the Lake Arts Commission does for preservation. I think this would be the best month to do it in. So looking at that to prepare for October to make final choices, I would suggest Preservation Commission just opens up nominations from their commissioners. So I think we should do the same and be thinking about it in terms of our mission statement. And if you need an example of that, I can have Kim send out what the mission statement is again for the commission. But something to be thinking about between now and next meeting so that we can get nominations, and then by October meeting we can vote. And then we can do some sort of presentation to them. So that is my pieces. That moves us to the final staff updates. I have a couple pieces of business, but there is a joint commission meeting.
Yes, on October 21st. I think that's what we said, we were gonna look to the fall, and that was the first one that we were able to get on, it's on Monday, 4 until 6. So that's something that I was gonna add to the next agenda for us to talk about. What we want to share.
City council,
Well, okay, sorry,
Work session.
presentation, not a joint, we will not be the only thing. Yes, we won't be up on the dais, it will be an opportunity that we'll have 15 to 30 minutes to go up and say, here's all the things that we're doing. And here's the things that we would love for you to consider, and if we have any questions that we can answer. So it'll need to be a presentation that is generated by someone in this room that is here at the meeting. But I can help facilitate that, I want it to not be me doing the recording as a staff member, but instead you all who are contributing. So here are the things that we have done.
I could probably make that meeting work.
Well, take a look at the 21st, send me an email individually instead of CCing everybody if it is gonna be problematic for you, and if we don't have a good group, then you know, toward, we picked October because we wanted to coincide with Earth and Humanities, and October really May is gonna be slammed just because council takes a 6 weeks hiatus in the summer.
This is a work session for the council.
Correct. So yeah, October 21st, let me know. Like I said, 4 till 6, well, 4 until 5, is when we would have. And then my other update is we have a volunteer sheet, I already sent that around, thank you to those who signed up. And then the last thing is, with the receptions, we're having a hard time finding a musician who will pay for a very nominal fee, who will play for a very nominal fee. So I wanted to suggest that we have our own karaoke Bluetooth speaker that is mobile with 2 microphones, so if we had an artist that wanted to say remarks, we would be able to do that. I can get it for the bargain price of $59. So are we okay with me buying this instead of paying a musician $60? So that way at least we've got it backed up. And it comes with an auxiliary cable, so if you wanna bring your Walkman, or I can buy a Walkman too, we can plug in if you just wanna see instead of Pandora.
And we paid an artist to come out every month.
We stopped because he kept raising his fees. And that's when I went, well, we have a speaker in Pandora, we could save $60.
We did that for the June, we used,
My main thought is that we have the grant that will allow us to potentially cover this. Albany County Cultural Coalition grant is very malleable. In terms of what they'll qualify, so I just wanted to grant money.
Perfect. Can I ask if anybody wants to make a motion to approve me to purchase speakers and additional equipment needed in order to provide musical entertainment reception evenings?
Don't have to walk them.
Any,
Thank
all in favor of purchasing the speaker, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
you.
Okay. That closes the staff update, and so everything not on the agenda. Next meeting is Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. We've got a few things to look into before that meeting. Thank you to our guests. If you want to come back and join us for these fun meetings. We're going to be talking about AI stuff soon, so you might want to come listen to that. Otherwise, we'll adjourn at 4:59. Thank you. It's the worst thing.